Hey, what's going on, fellow trade geniuses? This is Philip with another update for August 9th. This is heading into Wednesday morning. So, overnight, last 24 hours, obviously the tensions have ramped up with North Korea. Some pretty strong words coming from President Trump. So, obviously, everything is a little bit ramped up as far as volatility. For Nadex trading, we like volatility, so we'll see how that plays out today. But it really helps out on our high probability entries, which we are 33-1 from March. So those continue to crank out. So, you know, what ends up happening geopolitically, I don't know. We have a regime in North Korea that basically has survived, from grandfather to the father to the son. And, they go with insurance, and insurance is they have nuclear capabilities. So they have one ally, and they're wearing them thin on China. So they're going to act like they're going to be they're going to play hardball. It's what the game they're going to play, and they've had a regime that's lasted a long time, and they're pretty calculated about that stuff. However, I'm not sure that this administration is going to have the patience of the previous one. So it may get crazy quick, but I don't think Lil Kim can keep up the rhetoric much longer. So that's all I got to say about that. I just think that we may see some volatility, may act as a catalyst for some of taking some money off the table. But the Fed, because this is all manipulated, Fed's going to have to want to play ball and let go. Will that happen? We shall see. I think there's going to be dip buying opportunities. I think they're going to be quick though. So let's get into the charts, because there's some activity going on in the Globex session that's pretty volatile, and let's take a look. So first thing we'll do, as usual, we'll take a look at the ES chart. So as you can see, we dipped. Here is settlement, right? 24.72.75. We gapped down here. Gapped down, that opened the session, and it came right down to our half deviation. Now, I like half deviation levels in Globex. I kind of had a feeling that this would probably rip higher to settlement, and that's what's happening now. So we tweeted out an entry down in here at the money. If we do get to the settlement, and sometimes we see a ramp into session open, we'd probably want to take profit, because I think it's going to be, there's a propensity, I think, for this to ramp up to flat, but as our U.S. market opens, we may see some downward pressure from what I'm seeing. That's my read. Levels. Let's take a look at levels. So also too, down here by -5, one of the levels we had looked at on the chart was 24.63. So I think definitely, like you see here, we came down, kind of drifted up, London session action, and now we're bouncing hard off of this. If we make a higher high here, I can almost guarantee you we're going to go back to this 24.73 area. So that's what we're looking at now. I would like to exit these positions up in here for the US 500 Nadex entries, probably before the morning session starts or very shortly after. I don't have a lot of faith that this is going to be one of those days where it's going to rock up, unless something happens geopolitically that diffuses the situation, but I'm not seeing that. Now, that being said, if we zoom out a little bit, we're going to take a little bit more time on this, because as things get unstable, we start seeing some extreme levels. Okay, so -1, another big level as far as the measured move during the day, that's at 24.55. Would be tempted, and that's also coincides with S2, so that's a tempting spot to get long, but kind of need to see the price action, how much time is left in the day, etc. Our next big level would be 24.49.75. Again, this was off the 4-hour chart that I showed you guys earlier in the week. I'm not going to zoom out on it, but these levels are based off of those volume areas. So I think that's probably gonna, I don't know what we're going to see below that. If we do, and we really start moving, then you have your -2 deviation, which is exactly on this 24.37.50 level. If we came down to that, that should provide a pretty hefty bounce intraday. All right, so I don't think we're going to see below that, unless things get very crazy during the day. But if you're in the room, we'll be talking about it. We'll walk through some of the targets we'd be looking at to play the bounces off of. All right, so that's the ES. All right, let's take a look at currencies. A lot of movement, of course. There's flight to safety when we get into these situations. That being said, currencies bounce hard, and so there's a lot of opportunities to play. For example, look at USDC Swiss. Big wicks, really overdone move. I mean, you're talking like hourly, this is like a median hour, 14 pips, and we're pulling 55 pips, all right? So it's big volatility. When it's high volatility environments, though, that's where you get these crazy moves. And when we're doing our hourly Nadex plays, you can, you make quick money. But we're currently actually in the 96.60, a little underwater. I think this is overdone, and I'm going to show you why. Also, speculatively, you could pick up the 96.40. These are the 3 p.m. expirations. And let's go into the our usual Forex screen to take a look at what we're looking at. So here's a Swissy down here. You can see in the channel, and like this is extreme out of the channel stuff, right? And we're not talking like a nation imploding or anything. This is just geopolitical knee jerk. So there's a high propensity for this to get back in the channel. All right. So again, it's a 3 p.m. expiration. You're starting to see a lot of pairs head that direction. I think that all of that, if it gets oversold like the Swissy here, definitely playable. So most of that you're seeing on the yen pairs, because if you look in the yen futures, they're getting overbought, and that's just a flight to safety. Dollar, for the most part, is pretty sideways in its relative range, so not a dollar sell-off per se. So again, EJ, AJ, UJ, all those pairs are starting to push toward because they're inversely correlated, so they're starting to push toward oversold levels. So we will take a look at that. Again, we look at those with time of day type of stuff and probabilities. So EG is kind of interesting, but I wouldn't want to really look at maybe swinging on that until we get down to this 89.60 area. Okay, so that's it for our FX looks. Daily layout, let's take a look. Boom. Today was a nice fade outside that channel, almost like a blow off top. I think though what happened was this bar here, we saw this was the news. Somebody always knows, and so they started selling beforehand. Somebody knew something was going to happen. So anyway, that sold off. So anyway, we're oversold. You know how it is in these channels with SPX. I suspect we are going to bounce back, like I said, because we're oversold. We're going to bounce back to settlement. That's the play there. Now, if we look over at our ES and our yield curve ratios, yield curve did, we were talking about this diversion here, but then again, yield curves kind of snapped back. So that's uncommon. It happened twice in a row. Kind of interesting. Yield curves are diving down a little bit, and so is the ES. So nothing like super spectacular waterfall type of pullback, but I'm not seeing anything super critical there. If we want to look at the other indices as far as their extremities of the moves, here's NQ, not as badly oversold. Here is YM, Dow Mini, not as badly oversold. Russell, TY, not as badly oversold. So ES looks the most extreme as far as relative moves to what the previous ranges have been. Okay, so I think that's going to continue to recover. We have a nice bounce going right now, and I think that happens to continue into the morning session. That being said, let's take a look at commodities. And in the commodity space, gold, flight to safety right now, right? Geopolitical problems. Silver too. Not really interested in fading those because I think people may just pile into them into the weekend. Natty gas, actually are long this, we're long natty gas in just the stock, UNG. And as you can see, that's getting to the top of the channel, so there might be an opportunity to fade that for an end of day type contract. Soy and corn, not seeing anything really shaping up to action on those. But yeah, like I said, silver and gold, I want to stay long those don't really have any desire to really short them, even though they are getting outside the range. Copper, if we got a pop above into the, over like toward the $3 mark, probably would be interested in fading that, because that would be pretty extreme. Lastly, let's take a look at VIX. And we talked about these interval spikes, and we are due for one in here and starting to see one, right? It's funny how you get, and it's for whatever reason, you have geopolitical problems or just technical reasons, but you get these intervals, and they're pretty regularly spaced. So we're right there. If this went to 14, wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it get up here to 16 to 18. If things started getting pretty heated verbally. Take a look at the FX stuff. More of the same. The JPY volatility index, the pound volatility index, and the euro volatility index here, which is still ahead of us. But we're close enough, and you see a little spike up in volatility. I think we were probably going to see some premiums for our high probability trades tomorrow or today going into the session. So keep your phones nearby for those alerts. That's pretty much it. Should be a pretty interesting day of trading. Be nimble, be safe. If you're in the rooms, hey, we're gonna call out what we see, and so a good day to pay attention, eyes wide open. Other than that, I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's update. We can recap what happened and look at where we're going from there. All right, guys, have a great day. Stay nimble, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next update. Take care. Bye.